Hey everyone, so we're gonna continue on today. Just gonna target this video a little bit more than the last one, because I was definitely meandering a lot there. This is literally for me like a few minutes after the last video. I went to the bathroom, I came back. Feeling a little bit better now. I guess my caffeine is starting to kick in, or something, right? So we're just gonna focus on a couple of to-dos. We're just gonna add this file to be ignored by rough. We're just gonna look that up how to do that, and it's probably a setting in PyProject Toml. Like I'm certain of it, which is awesome by the way. I love that, you know, um, and then and the reason it's awesome is because you can have it defined per project, because for certain projects certain things don't matter, and for certain projects they matter a lot, so you can tweak it separately based on the project. um, um, we're gonna focus on, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm just feeling a little gassy right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to add this file to be ignored by rough, and I'm going to do a simple one, which is change up the colors mechanism so that instead of using bisect, I just use a case statement or a switch statement of some kind. And I'll also make sure to set info as the first case, because info is going to be the most populous, what's the word I'm looking for? Most populous, um, most populous, what's the word I'm looking for, man? The most populous type, essentially, right? So greater than 10, less than or equal to 20 is info, and that's going to be the most popular logging style. So it makes it slightly more efficient to have it be at the very top of your switch statement, which I've actually never written one of those in Python. I know they start supporting them, but at least so far in my career, I haven't had to actually code one up. So I'll probably like read a little bit about that, but let's start with the easy one. Let's go back to our PyProject Toml. No, not our PyProject Toml, our pt.py. Okay, let's just Google this. Also, let me just move this around because I want the browser to be the left. I have way too many things open. This is getting ridiculous. I'm just gonna create a new tab. UV, rough, other stuff. I'm just gonna start fresh right now. Rough config. There's a page configuring rough right there. Okay, so answer is right here, tool.rough exclude. But what I'm wondering is, because I want it to still ignore all of these, and I want to add to it. So let's Google if I specify exclude rough in pyproject.toml, will it replace defaults or be added on top of defaults? I don't know. I hope that's a, for rough, it does not replace the default exclusion. Instead, it is added on top of it. So rough will exclude files and directories that match either its built-in default patterns or any patterns you explicitly define in the exclude setting within your PyProject TOML file. If you intend to add without overriding them, the exclude setting is the correct approach. If you wish to extend the default exclusions with additional patterns while keeping the existing defaults, you can also use extend exclude. What the hell is extend exclude? Using rough letter, the underlying configuration and semantics are the same. B. When passed a path on the command line, rough will automatically discover all Python files in the path, taking into account the extent. Okay. Let's just check the exclude setting. A list of file patterns to exclude from. Exclusions are based on globs and can be either single path patterns like .mypycache to exclude any directory named .mypycache in the tree, foo.py to exclude any file named foo.py, or foo_py to exclude any file matching this relative patterns as well. Okay, for more information on globs, so you see the glob set document. Okay, notice that we'll typically want to use extend exclude to modify the excluded paths. Type list string. Note that you'll typically, listen to omit from in addition to those specified by exclude. Okay, so you do want to use extend exclude essentially because I don't want to overwrite the defaults. I just want to add to that, and Google was wrong. It was wrong. It was saying something about if you wish to extend the default exclusions with additional patterns while keeping the existing defaults. I'm like, okay, whatever, bro. It's literally exactly what I was looking for. It's like if I do exclude, it's going to be just that. If I do extend exclude, it's going to be everything that's default plus an extend exclude. So I am going to use extend exclude. Boom, right there. I'm just going to use that. I'm actually just going to hit copy and drop that into my PyProject TOML. Here, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this as well. And I'm going to switch this to pg.py. And then pg.py is now ignored. So we're going to just go ahead and remove this to do. Just going to leave that last line open because this is just a playground file, right? So there was no point of having that there. I'm just going to go ahead and commit this really quickly. Git commit -m added pg.py to rough exclude -m. Sometimes I add additional messages in the info in the commit that I don't need to, just because like if I hit git log, I can kind of see things, understand my logic to some extent. I can also rewatch my videos and stuff, but GitLog's just really nice, you know? I get a super quick summary, so yeah. Added PGPy to rough exclude, used extend exclude so as not to overwrite rough's default excludes. Git command -m-im-a. Boom. We are el dunzo. So we're done with this one, and now we're moving on to the next one in main.py, which was to change the colors implementation. This one specifically that I have highlighted that you are having a difficult time seeing, but it's line 56 and 57. I'm just gonna remove the add colors for levels because we already fixed that, because obviously we have colors for our logs. And also I've been doing a lot of small things and I haven't actually seen if everything is working fine, so let's just go ahead and double check that. Oh wait, I have another console that I can use. Okay, let's just try that. Let's hit our endpoints, root, getting all my logs. I like that blue is still purple even in light mode. And bold red stands out a lot more in light mode, which I appreciate. And then let's just hit Held Z as well, just in case. Yep, seems to be fine. Our access logs are working fine. Let's hit a boom. It's gonna blow up. An exception. Trace back. Yeah, this is something that needs to be improved because it's super duper unreadable right now. Super duper. And part of the problem is it's just super not nice. I don't know how else to put it. This is just super ugly, and it just actually makes it difficult to debug when there's an actual issue. Like, I actually quite like how Fast API does it. Even UVcorn doesn't do it as nice, where it shows you the locals and everything at each step. It's quite nice, and I don't even want that. I just want like a nice, well formatted exception info. That's it. That is more capable. And the annoying thing is that this one was raised by UVcorn error, so it's an exception that's not caught. So that makes it even worse because I have zero visibility on where this is, right? Because if this was an exception that I threw, I could be like, from my metadata, figure out where it was and just go there, right? Like, it'll at least lead me to the function that started all this noise, right? So yeah, this is something that sucks. I don't want to think about it right now because I'm hoping that I won't have to deal with it for some time. So yeah, I'm just gonna close out real quickly. I've tested out that everything is still working. Go back to our colors, right? And we have a colors mapping, and we get color. And okay, so I could just probably adjust this in the get color itself. Will I be changing the colors mapping? Actually, I mean, for now I'll just leave it here, but honestly I think when I'm done I don't need this. I would just be returning I'm just going to go through a switch statement and return the appropriate color, and that's it. And then I don't need get color key function either, or colors mapping. To do, remove. I'm just gonna add that preemptively. To do, remove. Okay, and then in get color we have, what is it called in Python? Switch case? Actually, let me see how to write case Python. Oh, it's match value case. Strings, numbers, booleans, etc. Matching multiple values or operators using the OR operator to match against several values in a single case. I think acts as a wildcard, catching any value that doesn't match previous cases. How is match? So I just want to understand the order of operations, or if there's some sort of optimization, or if it's just like in Python, or if it's just linear. Evaluate it. What if what I want to do is match this number is there a Python equivalent for the switch statement? Case with less than or greater than Python. Matches value to variable x. Okay, this is what I thought. Should be an easy way to do that. So it's not case actually, it starts with a match level number colon case colon just gonna call ln is greater than 10, right? So basically 11 or higher, and it's less than equal to, actually I'm not even sure if this is valid. 20. Case, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, ln, I'm just gonna put case underscore colon raise exception for now. It's not very nice, but multiple statements on one line. What multiple statements? Case oh, it's before. So ln 10 less than ln and ln less than or equal 20. Oh, what's the problem? What is going on? What do you mean by invalid annotated assignment? Is it because of the return gray of self.gray? Oopsie. What do you mean by expected as return state? Expected a statement rough? I don't understand what that means. Return. Match level number. Case. Case ln if, okay, I see. If 10 less than, what is going on? Contains changeable. Quick fix. Magic. What? I need to look at these. Unnamed numerical constants. Magic values. Use of magic values can make code harder to read and maintain, as readers will have to infer meaning of the value from the context. Such values are discouraged by PEP 8. Okay. I'll bite. That makes sense. And honestly, I kind of wanted to switch to using the logging info thing anyways. Greater than logging dot debug and less than logging dot info. Okay, and the remaining cases are easier. Ln if ln less than equal to logging dot debug. I'm gonna pause the video really quick because I need to pee. Okay, whoo. I need it to be really bad. And then I realized I had some sour cream and onion chips, so I opened it up. Lazy day for the win. Oh, actually, hopefully not actually a lazy day. I think it's probably going to be a bit of a slow day, but let's hopefully not be lazy. So, case ln, if ln return self dot actually I want to return gray for this and then blue for this. And then case ln if ln less than equals logging warning return self dot yellow case ln if ln less than equals logging dot error and return self dot red. Yeah, okay. Case ln if ln less than equals. This is the kind of stuff that is actually pretty great with an AI agent, but I am specifically staying away for now because I don't think I'm good enough to be like using an AI agent effectively because I won't be able to review the code effectively. Can I have a chip? I was just about to make a mistake. So debug is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Debug info warning error critical, right? So anything greater than warning should actually return this, which is self dot bold red. So actually, instead of doing ln greater than logging dot error, right? And I'm gonna raise value error because if it's really none of these, and it shouldn't be, because eventually when I set up the environment variables, it should always be a valid integer that's greater than 0, right? So if it processes through all of this, we've processed everything from, one more thing I need to add. I just realized that. And ln greater than equals 0. I hope it doesn't give me the thingy. No, it doesn't, thank God. I think there was a mention about specific common magics are automatically ignored, which I'm grateful for. Because this would have meant that any negative number would have been valid, which I don't think would have worked with a logger. I think the lower bound is 0. And actually the lower bound is actually 1. So if, ideally, if you're handling your environment variables well, it should never be an issue over here to raise a value error. And in fact, if you're a smarty pants, you could say, wait, this is literally the last option. So if it's none of these, I could potentially just comment this out. And one thing I could do, one thing I could do is return self dot bold red, right? Now I can do that here, and I'm pretty sure it'll work. Let's just showcase that. Boom. See, I'm returning this. I'm not using the colors mapping. It just goes through the case statement. And you know what? Just to make it 100% clear, I'm going to even comment that out. And boom, right? It was working. It was not a problem. We'll even hit the root endpoint to just check the other logs. They're all coming in fine. Bold red, regular red, warning, info, debug. You know, so everything is coming through. I didn't put the level ones because my logging level is set to 10 right now, because the ones below that it was getting annoying. So this will work, but I'm still choosing to do it this way and raise a value error here. Because essentially this should never be a problem, right? It should never be able to execute raise value error because literally everything has been explicitly handled. So it should never come here. So if it comes here, that means your environment variable was not set properly. And on top of that, whatever mechanism, which I haven't set up yet, but whatever mechanism you do set up has failed somehow, right? And this is just an aspect of, you know, it's easy to try and think and avoid over optimizations. It's like, oh, if it doesn't do this, why do another check? I'm just going to ignore that additional check and do this. But then what if later on, like when I write, let's say I write the environment variable mechanism and I write it flawlessly and it works, and then someone else comes along and they have to rewrite it for some reason, or they have to add some new environment variables that we're defining and using in different ways in that file. And then what that in that it needs to add new environment variables to the project, or whatever reason, for some reason the mechanism, the function, the whatever you want to use to set up the environment variables is broken somehow. It's broken somehow. And if it breaks, and then you do come down to this code and you don't catch that, you're going to have some sort of unexpected behavior, right? And because you've written it in such a way that the only way for this to be like this is if the original file where the logging level... Wait a second. Let me think about this. Oh shit, no, I'm talking nonsense. Oh yeah, I'm talking absolute nonsense. I can just skip this, right? But the only issue being if you give it, I'm just gonna look this up. Logger.log. Why is this another? Oh, okay, wait. Let's do it, I don't know, here. Okay, MSG equals that. Let's run this in the playground. Logger equals logging import logging dot get logger. Just gonna command control C this, clear it, uv run pg.py, and that does absolutely nothing. What if I do now? Let's Google this. And call basic config logging import basic config level equals -200, and then let's set this to -30, see if that makes any difference. Now, what if I set it to 1? Okay, so 1 is the effective lower bound, but you also don't need to explicitly check for it to be a positive integer. A negative integer will just is equivalent to a 0. Should I check that in my code? Because it doesn't matter in the code, but it could lead to user errors, right? wherein someone who wants to use your repo or is working on your repo, and just by accident of typing they somehow accidentally add an additional hyphen, maybe their cat jumps on the board or they just have weird fingers or whatever, something happens, and it's negative, and then suddenly none of their logs are coming through, it's just additional hassle. So might as well just strongly check for that, because why not, you know? Okay, so now that we understand that, so we've understood this, that basically level 1 is the negative bound, but going negative is acceptable and is not going to throw an exception. And we've decided that regardless, we are still going to force in our environment variable parsing mechanism that the integer parsed is a positive integer, because otherwise you could have silent failures or issues later on that people may not be able to catch, because they accidentally added a hyphen somewhere and made a number negative without realizing it or something like that, right? So I think I'm just going to delete this line because it's pointless to have that there. I'm going to come back to this jazz. And so I still stand by doing it like this, wherein this way explicitly, if it is not a integer that is 0 or higher, it gets parsed as a value. We raise a value error, you know, signaling that there is an issue in our like logging mechanism, that this thing has gone through and got a log level that is just not accurate, you know, not accurately reflective. Now that could be the user itself, like parsing and sending in a negative log level on a specific log rather than it being set through a config, which would ideally be run through some sort of environment variable or file or something like that. So it should be able to catch that error as well in that case where, you know, it's fine in the config, but someone actually sends a log with a ridiculously weird number, and so they should just get a value error, and someone is only going to do that while they're developing, right? So it's not a huge deal if it breaks the server or whatever, because it's someone who's developing or it's in a staging or QA environment. That's kind of a ridiculous thing to do in a prod environment, and we should reinforce that, you know, just to avoid the chance of potential confusion later on. Okay. Now this is that code. Let me just double check one more time, make sure everything's running fine. Gonna hit our logging check endpoint, which is our root hello world endpoint. We're seeing nice pretty logs, we got no problems. So I am just going to remove both of these because they are pointless now. And I am going to, isn't there something else I wanted to remove? Oh yeah, the colors mapping. That is pointless as well. And these two to-dos. Bada bing, bada boom. Alrighty. So I am going to commit this, and that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.